Hey guys, what's going on? This is Josh from Spotted Euros, and behind me, as you can see, we have our $1,800 Volkswagen Touareg. In this video, we're gonna do an update on this Touareg. Unfortunately, things did not go as planned, but we'll get to that, so stay tuned. Okay, so for those who don't know, this is a 2005 Volkswagen Touareg V8, air suspension, rear heated seats, climate control. It is fully loaded. It is in great shape. It looks really good. And unfortunately, when we first picked it up, this is what it sounded like. Okay, looks like we're getting power. Man, this is the moment of truth. Oh my gosh. Now, I put that clip in every one of these videos, and it doesn't feel any better, even after all this time. That first startup was heartbreaking. Okay, so if you haven't seen the other videos, they're definitely fun, entertaining videos to watch. So go check out when we picked this up. We bought this car sight unseen in Seattle. And we got it for pretty cheap, 1,800 bucks, like it says in the title. And this thing is in great shape. I've had plenty of these Touaregs. I actually had a Touareg just like this. And one of the things, the reason I bought this was because of how good of shape it's in. So as you can see, buttons, you know, are all intact. Really the only buttons that are worn out is the fan button, but usually, I mean, you look at these and it is in horrible shape. Headliner is even in good shape. The seats are in good shape. I have them folded down right this second, but if you look at this passenger seat, I mean, this whole thing, not even the door cards are sagging, not even slightly. It has 145,000 miles. So after the last video, I got home. I made it home just fine. When I got home, it still was misfiring quite a bit. It wasn't running the best, but it didn't sound too bad. The engine itself sounded perfectly fine. It was just misfiring quite a bit. So I did not hesitate. I took the car over to my local mechanic that I always use. They only work on Volkswagens, and they've worked on plenty of these Touaregs. Dropping off the car. Cross our fingers. Sure looks good. Cross our fingers that this is gonna be all right. So I dropped it off and crossed my fingers that it wasn't something too big. Now there was kind of some hope along this process. So when I first dropped it off, they called me back pretty quick after and said, hey, the diaphragms on the intake manifold are frozen. It doesn't look like the cylinders are getting enough air, or basically the intake manifold had a couple of parts that were frozen. It's actually a pretty common issue with these Touaregs. Anyway, there's some plastic rods that people upgrade to metal, a bunch of different stuff. Anyway, they said, hey, those are frozen, order some of those, and we'll see how it runs after that. So I ordered them. It took a little bit to get here, about a week. I ended up just ordering an entire intake manifold. So I dropped it off. They replaced it. After they replaced it, it still was misfiring quite a bit. It still wasn't running perfect. It was running a little bit better, but it still was misfiring. Now, they also noticed as it was running quite a bit of noise. They weren't exactly what it was initially, and then they pulled off the timing belt cover and noticed the timing belt was extremely loose. Exactly what we didn't want. So the timing belt or the tension or something was making quite a bit of noise. So they said, hey, we need a new timing belt. It looks like the engine, it will be okay, but we definitely need a new timing belt, a new timing belt kit. So I ordered a kit. It wasn't even that too bad, 250 bucks, and guess what? It showed up in a couple of days. I did not even pay for extra shipping. It just showed up super quick, and dropped it off. It took them a couple days. It's not an easy job. It took them a couple days to put that on, and then once they got it all back together, they started up, and unfortunately it was still doing the same thing. Once again, it was running better, it sounded better, it definitely was not clinking around. You know, everything was tight and running how it was supposed to, but unfortunately it still was misfiring. So they looked into it a little bit more. They pulled out some of the spark plugs. They were completely covered. Horrible spark plugs. Could have had to do with the fact that we drove it for 1,000 miles as it was misfiring. So the spark plugs were completely coated. They switched those out. Didn't really make much of a difference. So they decided to do a compression test, and I don't know, one of the sides of the engine, basically, they went through down all the cylinders, and all the cylinders had low compression. So unfortunately, that's kind of, that is the main update. It looks like this engine is no good. Now, the frustrating thing is it really doesn't sound too bad. All right, so here we go. I can start this up for you guys. So yeah, so like I said, this is not the video that I wanted to make. This is not the update. I had some plans for this Touareg. I had plenty that I wanted to do, and really this is a bummer for me. It is such a nice car. Now, what are we gonna do? Well, as much as I would love to say we would fix it, as much as the inner car guy and Touareg fan wants to make this ride and fix this car, we're just gonna have to send this back to the auction and see what we can get out of it. Now, it is in such good shape. Oh, it kills me. I was really looking forward to driving this. This was gonna be my daily driver for the winter time. I couldn't think of a better car for the winter time, but like I said, it's not gonna work out. There's a couple of things we're gonna grab off of this. I'm gonna switch out the wheels. We're going to I just thought of switching out the hood struts. I mean, just kills me. Look at these headlights. These headlights are perfect. The whole car. There's like 0 rock chips on the front. There are 0 dents. Windows are tinted nice. Anyway, like I said, this is a big bummer. The air suspension, the V8, the everything. I was really looking forward to this car, but that's kind of how it goes. Selling used cars, buying and selling used cars. You just got to keep moving, and you got to move on to the next one. So anyway, that's it, guys. That's the update. I was really hoping to make a lot of Touareg content with this Touareg, but unfortunately, I guess those comments of stop buying Touaregs made some sense. But anyway, thanks guys, thanks for watching. Say goodbye to the Touareg. You might see the wheels around, but we're gonna send this back to the auction and move on to something else. So thanks for watching, guys. Is it a good sitting in the parking lot. Those Touaregs have been sitting there